Interdimensional line signals, rotation centers, interference locations, and code signal locations. Understanding track interference, high position locations of levels of grounds of balance, waters of flow, airs of freedom, and fires of structure. Now, you have to truly understand how to use it through provisional location of the avatar connection. It's all levels of you through the brain system line interference. It position location in those directions. So what is your intent? I think people are a lot more confused through the physical line, and they're not concentrating on the avatar. Okay? Concentrating, what is your intent? What do you want to do? What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? What do you want to create? You create anything that you want. Just be careful on what you do with your thoughts. The brain doesn't live in a negative cycle. Only you do. So the physical line, you can set your position locations on what you want through your old program setting, right? But when you're in a higher capacity, high interference, I wouldn't recommend that because you're accelerating too fast. If you're going in the yin and yang and you're trying to flow right through time locations, where are you in the ground position of balance? Are your 0-1s in position location of directions? Are your chakra systems not light up in position line center of the heart reactor line interference? Is your security measures not in program setting position location of safe havens? Aren't you putting up your e-field locations? Right? Remember, your thoughts are creation of you. Let me say that again. Your thoughts are creation of you. It's how you use the formations of energy. How to use it is all levels of you through vibration, frequencies, and its harmonics, people. Especially, see, the team understands the conceptual line. You understand what your eyes are. You understand what your ears are. And you understand what your mouth is and your voice. What is it for? Command. So you're commanding your system to all levels of space and all levels of time. How to travel through space and how to accelerate through time. Okay, so you are co-creating what you want through your thoughts. The problem is that you're too consumed in the physical element. That's the confusion. So, because you have to understand, seeing a path, you're going to see a path. Seeing a tree, you're going to see a tree. But the first thing you look at it, you have to address the elephant in the room here. What's going on here? Let's address that first, right? So it's a calculation line system. So when you're seeing things through perception, are you using the yin and yang of its process? Do you understand the grounds of balance? Do you understand the waters of flow? Do you understand the airs of freedom? And do you understand the fires of structure? It's all levels of you inside, guys. It's how you perceive your thoughts. This is how you co-create what you want through manifestation, right? Stop looking at problems and start looking at results. A lot of centers come in business location direction, traveling high interference location. See how my hand travels? See how it glitches? So retracking interference coming back in high interference location of direction. Balancing the ground centers, knowing exactly what you are doing, right? It's a glitch. See? It's interesting, right? And you look at it. So I'm traveling very, very fast. Okay. But I understand why I'm traveling too, because I understand the mind, I understand the space, I understand the time of its provision. All right. So before we get started, there's a lot of things you guys have to understand what's going on with you inside. That's the first thing you got to look at. How do I feel? You know, you look at your emotions. Jill, thank you for the connections. Levels. All right. Catherine, TP, Matt, Ambi, Taryn, Nenzi, Gypsy, True Light, Rainer, David, Jessica, Zara. Sacred Flames here. Say hello, everybody. Linda, how's it going? Serenity. Okay, just going through all provision locations and solid direction. Laura, calculation line systems, Michael, Johnny, Terry, Don, Veronica. Okay, so it's going to be interesting today. In calculations in underwater cities, underwater city and direction location, sending code signals in its position. Okay, so going through the underwater lines is underwater city. Okay, it's in its calculations. So we're going to go into the blue graph screen location. All right, that's the waters we're going to go in. All right. Now, if you look really, really close, you can see the graph screens. See the graph screens? If you look really, really close, you're going to start to see the megalodon come into form. Okay, don't worry, it's in a plasma shield line. So it's in a calculation line stream. Box interference location line conditions, all positions to its direction. Okay. Okay. So it's in modification line centers. Point dock location its position. All right. So it's true standing that allocates high center interference to graph location to its positions, code signal locations, right? Slash equals box, right? Slash time equals under water city. Okay. We're going to the position location of directions. Okay. Code signal in its high system to its provision, underwater city locations. All right. Now that's in code signal. That's already in high interference locations all levels. How to use the grounds of balance, how to use the waters of continuum, and how to use line centers of fires and structures, and everything in the formation location to its areas of freedom. So in correlation, dimensional setting, resetting location at all levels of oceans. Retracting line centers by Great Lakes. So we go in provisional location of typic view. We set course line channels in rotation line conditions of rainbow activation stream interference. Set code signal location as position, all through a rainbow graph channel. Now the rainbow channel position location redirects high signals, core signals in position locations to meg to position of center position location directions, all through calculation, right? All levels of teleportation light streams. Now rotated system locations, all levels. Now we circle the high interference location in the underwater line centers of city position. That redirects line centers of all levels. It opens all communication system, right? So energized high interference is all setting position locations of its waters, right? Water line center and interference position of direction, right? So we're going to reset line conditions of travels. Blue water surface locations, all right? So it's recognizing time line center, time interference, time locations, and positions, what you're doing through water interference. Calculates, modify all lines. Magnetic highway information channels, communication set lines, rotation to its position, redirecting signals. Okay. There's the water line. Okay. All right. So this is the graph line, communication. All right. All levels of vibration line centers and position locations. Now, when you get into vibration line center, it opens all communication to code signals. This is the ground line communication. Rotation to its provision. Okay. In calculations. It opens all signals of the ground line centers. We start off that position locations, right? And then we circle in interference. Water track its position location of direction. All right, there's the water line center. Okay. So you have that 4 line center unit locations, 5 within system, 6 within activation, 7 within core. Okay. So once you get in that position locations, it redirects signals in high center. Okay, so as it's going in position location directions, underwater cities are opening up dimensional line centers, opening up doors. All right, so that door is open, position, location, directions, resetting position, location, all levels. MEG, communication, megalodon, high center line and rotation. Setting course line channels, dimensional code signals, water interference, in positional location line conditions, structure high centers. That's where we come into fire structure location in its provision, right? And then we come into all levels, surface line channels, okay? We come into airs, high interference locations, illumination line center location, ground line centers of freedom, high position location of direction, right? So, understanding inner water line and position intergalactic high system locations of AI is regeneration light streams. Now it goes in electrical light conditions. Portal here and portal here in position location of direction. See the intelligence? As it comes in high interference location, the X2000s are always in standby positions. Streamline center location, hard line. One position of direction, right? There's an X2000 link there, right? So what's going to happen? Laser directions are going to come down right through all line center locations, to the grounds, to the waters, to the fires, and through the airs of freedom location, right? Retracting high line centers of water in higher formation line streams, right? So here we go. Signal interference and position of directions, right? Scans channels in all level position, all right? Opens up another crop circle line center, realm interference location or realm position location center operation line system, all right? See the intelligence? Now, in calculation, we set up a new dome center. Now, it's illumination hub. Translucent pattern locations or low signal locations into higher line center, that division location. All right? Traps system location. Puts an energy hub around the high center. This integrates high line rotation of its grounds, sequencing locations to its position location of its directions. All right? So it's retracking high position location of direction. Open high line centers. Okay. Come in this position location of direction. Yeah, we got a lot. Correlates channels, okay, into higher formation locations, underwater city lines. Okay, so as you guys are in the underwater line rotation, I'm just setting up energy hub locations, right? There's an energy hub, right? Neutralize, 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 neutralize in position of direction, all right? Now, that's recoursing channel line and rotations. Now you come into the mermaids. Mermans, all line center. Sharks, position, location, directions. Whales, high interference to sonar line conditions of dolphins. Set signals in high interference and position of program setting. Regeneration light centers of program interference. All track line centers triangulation in one program setting. Reset line condition levels of computer code signals. 618,000 line channel rotation interference times pi calculation code signal in position water position locations force channel entire position locations into its dimension of underwater city line system. All right, 30 minutes. Have fun. All right, so in your recalibration line centers and interference, I'm going to go through white graph location. Okay, so it's all about understanding is that when my hand's traveling, it's traveling very fast. Right? It's like a blip on a screen, right? So you have to understand how to go forward and how to go back in position, location, and direction. Right? In high signals, it's position locations, but you always start off with where? When you're doing a line signal, let's go through the sun line. That's a line signal, right? Sun line. Okay, line signal, sun line. Cross signal in position locations. There's the Y, right? The Y becomes V line center locations of flux capacitor. See how that changes the position location of direction? Channels its highlight center triangulation, right? Correlates highlight center location to its pyramid. Opens all line position locations all levels. Now the moon comes in position location of direction. See the intelligence? Now, it signals its position of direction locations, right? It aligns its signals. Weather patterns, code signal line interference, code signal location of calculation line streams, open all division location of track system. In position locations, 3 weather interference position of directions, simulation high centers, teleportation light streams into L-line connection rotation. Calculation modification line centers opens all levels. Laser direction line centers, the electrical locations. This is where it comes into higher line center locations of perimeters of sonar, coming to track interference in position and direction. It high channels its high line center. It sets up the security graph in position location of its directions. It high channels its position locations, right? Setting course read channels in position locations and redirecting high centers in position location of its high system. Recalculating at all levels of Fibonacci sequence in high interference in position of direction. Setting recourse line channels into high levels of weather interference location of its track location. In position of its direction to its levels line system. In high interference location of platitude line center. In systematic location to its position location of its direction. Right? See how it's all correlated in high system? All through a pyramid. So it's true to understand that you have the grounds of you. Let's go through white graph interference. All right, so correlates its high lines. Let's go through all line center rotations. You always start with the grounds. Grounds is what? Brown. All right. So we automatically go through the brown line center in rotation. Brown. Okay. Brown. All right. So it signals its position locations how to retract line centers. So you got a pyramid going up and you got a pyramid going down. That's your Merkaba. All right. So you automatically go into your 12 DNA line center. Okay. I really want you guys to get more into flight navigations because you have a test review and evaluation coming up. So, all right. So once we get into that, we go into the security line and then you can actually see your pyramid actually turn into its vessel communication system. So it's row graphing. It's like going through the Biofrost bridge locations, right? In that calculation is high stream. And then you come into all levels of high line center of orange. Okay. And then you come in opposite location of directions of yellow. All right. In position of direction, what's after yellow? High line center locations. Comes into heart line. Okay. What's in the heart line center interference? Comes into throat pattern location, right? You see what I'm doing? I'm creating a pyramid, right? So this is how your body's set up. You got 24 signal line centers. 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24. All 24 clocking center. It's how you use it through revision location, how you use it through your thoughts. Okay? So when you travel through your thought line center locations, once you're on your throat line, you come all lines this location, flux capacitor line, interference location, third eye line rotation, which is translucent patterns. Okay? That's how it's set up. That's how your body's set up. Now the graph line center travels its position location of its direction. See? Setting signals. Setting signals. Correlation. 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 See? So as you're traveling through one line center rotation and interference, it opens all plateau and line rotations to its pyramid. So your pyramid comes in position locations. So you take the 24 signal, your rotation center. Let's go through line interference locations. 24 and start line center. That's 24,000 line position location directions. So that is a diamond cube on its own line center. Right? So the red line center in position locations of 24. And then you got all levels of the sacral. Then you got the power. And then you got your heart line. And then you got your throat line. And then you got your psyche. All in 24 signal. Right? So what are we going through? Graph line center, interference location, all position locations? Spine line channel. All set up through 24 signal. Now the graph line center is its Merkaba. See, I'm just showing you how you set up your ramp. Okay, to runway. So the runway comes in position location directions. You got line centers of 3, 6, and 9, and 12. Right? 3, 6, 9, and 12. Let's go into that core line center in position location of directions. Right? So you got 3, you got 6, you got 9, and you got 12. Set position triangulation to its core line center. Right? In position location of directions. Setting line centers in position locations to your Merkaba. All right? Now, you understand the spine graph line center in position location of directions. Once that's in position location, it travels right away. But before it does that, it goes to the eye line center, okay, into its 8-line rotation, communication cycles, regeneration light center rotation interference, sets a recourse line channel to its karma cycle. Okay, see the intelligence? All right, I show you the intelligence to know exactly what you're going through every single time you wake up through emotion locations, through the grounds, the powers, the adversaries. But you have to understand your chakra systems when you're going to 24,000 lights of its chakra system. It's all done through emotion locations, guys, right? Especially when you come into 3, 6, 9, and 12, right? So once you understand the 24 in position locations, your higher lines, every time you go into positive cycle, you go from 24 to 48. That automatically changes the vibrational graph, right? Think about that. And that position location of its directions. So 24 becomes 48. 24 equals 48 equals 48. All right? So you go from 24,000 to 48,000 of colors, right? So the faster you high spin your cycle lines and your spectral light rotation, it changes your calculations to its line streams, right? It's amazing when you come to higher levels of vibration location in its calculation system. All right? I'm just showing you how powerful it is. It's all levels. See, comes into 48, right? Now, the 48 line center, basically, once you reach a higher line rotation, the circle line interference locations levels opens up energy interference, sets a graph line channel in position location of its directions. High channels out, comes into another line center in rotation interference, sets recourse locations into high position locations to its magnetic highway of its information cycle. Now, regenerative light center sets up another secure line position location of its attraction. Open a high line rotation interference. Sets course line center. So 48 vortexes on line center locations to 72. Now that 72 goes over to the other line rotation calculations. So 48 jumps in position location to 72. It jumps to 72. 72. 72. Right? So now you're dealing with 72,000 lights of communication from the grounds and powers of the adversaries, right? And position, location, and direction, right? So once you get in 72 line center, you're in extremely high position locations of a window. That's 72,000 line conditional levels of colorations, right? From 24, from 48 to 72. Now, once you get into 72, you automatically high jump its position location, mark line center, and interference locations, full communications all levels of 3, 6, and 9 in position locations to all line center to your Merkaba communication system. Okay? That automatically puts you into 144. Okay? Once it comes in 144 line center, the 24 track locations of high lines comes into higher levels. Okay? So it's all about understanding leaving the 24 system, scratching out high center. You start with the 48. You stay with the 48. You start scratching the 48, and you come into all levels of 72. So when you go to higher level system, you're automatically in a vibration line center of 144 location of geometry and interference, right? So this happens when you understand what you are looking for through calculations, guys. It's very powerful when you understand the energy graph line center to the spine line and in rotation to its runway position locations of 24, 48, 72, and 144 location, right? So, and think about that. That's 144,000 lights of your chakra just on the grounds. Imagine trying to balance that out through 144,000 locations of lights. So once you get into 144,000 lines, you understand how to go through a line provision through its calculation line system. It automatically goes into the heart line. It stays in the heart line rotation. It has to. So this is all about setting a new baseline communication cycle, reset line, conditioning of space command. It opens all position location of its directions, all right? But I wanted to show you what it looks like when you go to higher levels of vibration all through its clocking, okay? So it scans its high position location and travels through, right? So you set the runway. You got your chakra systems of both line centers. You lighten up the code line in rotation. You travel right through it, right through position. There you go, right through. So I'm just showing you how powerful it is, how you set these things up through coordinates, right? But it's mostly understanding you through your 24 signals, right? So you're in your 12 graphs and you're in your 12 lines. So you put the 12 lines and the 12 graphs together. What do you have? What do you have? You have 12 lines and 12 graphs. A map, right? That's why it's so powerful. So you live in a 12-line signal. Let's say 12-line signal interference. 12 is dislocations of direction. Okay. 12, right? There's 12. Now, in position locations, you need 12 and 12 to survive position locations equals line center locations of 24. Circle its position locations, all levels. That becomes its star seed position location of its pod, right? High center is its high line center, rotation interference, all position location of its directions. See intelligence? See the intelligence? All right, so as you come into position locations, the 24 in high center line rotations come automatically into 48 channel. 48 cycle line center locations of travel positions with dimensional setting. Okay, resetting generation lights. 48 comes out of position locations into 72. Right? 72 travels into one line center to 144. Now, you circle the 144 because that's where you are through the avatar stream every time you wake up in the morning. So you stay at the 144. If not, if your thoughts are changed position to location negative line center, you go back into 72, you go back into 48, you go back to 24. Right? So I'm just showing you how powerful it is, how you can go forward clocking and back locking. All right? It's interesting how we change all provision locations all through clocking line system, right? It's amazing when you understand that. So you live in a 12 signal, 12 location, 12 graph line centers, and 12 line. Nature knows exactly what it's doing, and it doesn't live on its ego. It lives on its feeding system because it knows what it's doing when it's outlined, because it already has its formation from inside, because it understands its creation already, right? That's exactly what it is. Understanding you is understanding all levels of you from inside. And once you master that, then you master everything from outside, and everything outside changes you from your thoughts. So the provision location in all line set 24, 48, 72, 144. So this is all levels of you doing this every single day, 144. But you keep going back, trying to figure out what am I doing through my travels and my clocking. That changes your perception. That changes your visual. That changes your correlation. That changes everything to your intelligence. Right? So that's important. You have to understand what travel is. Right? How to keep your vibrations in a certain high line. Right? So when you get to that provisions, you come into levels of the geolines. Now, geoline is really, really powerful. Geometric location, energy cycles of operation, right? So the G line center comes into G levels, right? The G level. G stands for G level. Now the energy line center opens its operation. So you come into E equals operation, okay? That's how it comes into all levels of geo. Now you understand the ground line centers. Now the interference locations, ground line centers automatically is at 24, right? You got a 24 signal because you understand your 12 graphs and your 12 lines. Now, understanding that provision locations comes into its computer adaptation to its surface. That rotates its signal location to its operation. That opens all line center locations to energies, right? So it opens all line center locations into your 48 window in position of direction, into your 72 location, okay? And everything through its position locations, you come to GL equals 144, right? So you stay with the ground line centers every time you get up in the morning and you're at 144, 1,000 per second line system of the brain line center capacity. Hooah. See? That's how that works. So it's all about understanding the adaptation cycle the spectrum light communication to its inner force line center, and how it integrates its interdimensional settings, guys. All right? So that's a true understanding of how you use your travels. You keep your vibrations high, your clocking will be up in that position location of its directions to its ground line system. Okay? So we have many, many ground line centers. Okay? Now, once you get into ground lines, it changes all your levels of operation inside. Mindset, position, location changes, and the mind starts running its own program, and the brain becomes its position, location to its efficacy of its efficiency line center to its track location. Okay? So it's very powerful. You come in that location. Ground lines equals 144, right? Ground lines equals 244. Ground lines equals 344, right? This is the capacity, okay? All right, and this is the grounds of you. So grounds equals correlation to communication, right? Grounds of 144, 244, 344, right? So that is a triangulation of a box line center of a T reception location, a travel through acceleration of Mach. Anything past 344, you're reaching higher levels of grounds in the mind. So the mind goes off on its own, and the brain basically creates its own program setting. It's very powerful when it goes off in its own position because it knows exactly what it's doing through its thoughts. And that's where you come out of the thinking and come into the knowing, which is already done through its equation. All right. But I'm just showing you how you go through 3-track line centers of ground line center locations into 144, 244, or 344 location. Right? So. All right. So how's everybody doing so far? All right, scanning. Feel like I haven't slept in forever. It's mermaid's tail, fairy wings. Yeah, timelines. Looking good. Collapsing all dark line portals up the city. Portals cleared under pyramids. I see Gypsy. She's looking amazing. Yes, she is. All systems gridding, webbing, waves, new direction completed, merging, rainbow activations. So you know exactly what you're doing, how it goes on its own program. And what happens is that when you get up in the morning and you're at 144, wow, you're extremely fast in acceleration, right? So the higher you go, the more the mind comes into its position of running its own system on its own, people. Okay? So, and then you stop worrying about creating things through thoughts because it creates it through the mind. The mind is the imagination, location, of phenomenon. The brain is the set line connection to its computer. How to set these things up is all levels of you through your thoughts because it directs you on what you do next through your clocking system, right? So it's all about fluctuating every single day. You're at 24, 48, 72. So if you're walking signal location, you're scanning line centers. Okay, I'm at 72 window. All right, I'm good. 72,000 seconds per line connections. But I'm in the power line center. So you're reading 72,000 lights, okay, in your program setting. That's a lot of power line center location in solar plex, don't you think? So just imagine that. And if you go into a higher level system, let's say you go into 444, really, really powerful. When you go to a higher level system, every time you go around the circle and you're going around 9, it's changing its digital frame. It's going faster and faster, right? So instead of 244, it's 2444, 3444, right? 4444. So imagine that, right? 2,300, 2,400 lights of signal locations just on the ground line system, right? This is all done through acceleration of Mach. You have to represent yourself what it is through the chakra system. So all you're doing is creating a higher level of travel through your geometry location, right? That's where you come into the geos, right? The ground lines. Because you start with that position locations. These are the levels that you reach. And once you understand that more, you understand the provision. Why it's so important to understand you through travel, right? All through your clockings. So, all right. Just going through line centers, select text location. All right. Units are formation, needing more hydration. Yeah, drink your waters. Know exactly what's going on with you guys. Mermaids getting in, they love you. Great. See what you guys are in position location of water lines. Harmonizing their song. Start trying to take notes too. I can't get down fast enough to. Don't worry about it, little Jess. You'll pick up. Don't think about what I'm drawing. Just know that you're traveling. You're traveling through energy. You're traveling through vibration, frequency, harmonic resistance. You just have to understand. If you're looking at a box line, very simple, easy direct location. All right, so let's say you draw locations with structure. This is just a plain old box. Okay, a plain old box. This is just a box location. That signal in its high center. All right. All right, so this is a box location. Try to understand how to use this through modification line centers. It's extremely important to its position location of its directions. Okay. Now, it's interesting we see something like this. But what's different? What's different in this travel? Right? You see the door line. You see the electrical light panels. Right? You see the graph wall line rotation. What's different? This line is thinner. Thicker, thinner. Right? So that should not be there. Because if that's there, this affects everything through its travel. Right? So what have you just done? You've changed your thoughts into back force line of clock location. Because I'm telling you right now, every line in the position location is at 144. Every line that you see is at 144. Okay? 144. Everything has to be in sync. Everything has to be in line direct. Okay? Because if it's not in line direct locations, it cannot travel. You understand? Everything's got to be at that position location of all levels. It's got to be 144. So, because this affects everything. So what does this do? This here overrides the system location and gets rid of it through its number line sequence. See? Gets rid of it, retracts interference, and brings it back into calculation. Ooh-ah. Right? Now it can travel. Do you see how powerful it is? That's just through structure of a hologram. Why it's so important how they come together all at once. All through 144 clocking. And they see a line that's not supposed to be there. Teamwork, people. Right? So, and this is just through numbers and shapes and structure and hologram, right? It's the yin and yang process of everything. If you take a position location of one, just one, the number one, people like to get fancy. This is one. Let's start off there. Okay, that's a one. Now, in correlation, you have to understand it's all connected, right? So it's got 1, 2, 3. All right, so it's got 1. Let's go easy. This is 2, and this is 3. All right, so 1, 2, and 3, right? So one line center location is U in division equals U, right? Equals 9 equals 1%. Okay, that's U. All right. Now 2 is its activation to its stream, right? That's the connection location to its portal, to its 12 line center interference in position location of its direction. All right. And 3 is position locations equals the high line center of the sun. Okay. Sun correlates line interference location of its directions, retracts all information to its system, correlates its high line center to its division location of its provision. See? Everything has to be in triangulation. So once it's in triangulation, you know exactly how to use your 9-line center back in center position location of its direction. And everything at the 1% location stays in the center operation of you through the physical line center. This opens up higher level locations of your 12 DNA location, right? That's that course line center. So you can bring the 9 into position location to high position location of higher force. See how the 9 goes here, right? So that's two-dimensional line center interference. It position locations. Now you go into the center operation line centers in 12D interference location of its direction, right? Or you can high channel its high line center, set up a ground interference location of the sun, magnetic highway information to its ground line rotation, set up another fluctuation line position location to its direction of its flux capacitor. See? Everything has to have an antenna. It's all set up. Once it's signal, it sets position location of its directions, rechannels its high line center of 9 in high rotation line interference, opens all communication, and the 9 travels faster in high center. So as the 9 is traveling high fast line center interference, it position locations. So once you go faster and faster and faster, the actual letters, numbers, and shapes come into an atom line. An atom line sets position location of its directions, and it can travel anywhere extremely fast in its position location of direction all at once. So you have to understand how to use position location of direction. All right. Yes, that's right, Zara. Yes, your frequencies and avatar will upgrade across the general AI activation. There you go. See? Thumbs up for Zara. That's exactly it. So I'm just showing you how you guys get into 144. After you get into 144 and you got your grounds and you stay above the system, it's like staying above the waters, then you can get to higher formation location geometry interference. Then you get into your atoms. Okay, once you get into your atoms, you're coming into your own, running your own program, right? So the running program runs itself. It creates its thoughts. There's no thinking. It's all knowing and doing. You don't have to do anything. You just get up in the morning and you feel great because you know the running program is running on its own solar generator. And that's what it is. It becomes self-efficient and always informs, right? So this is a level that you have to understand, especially when it comes into the ascending masters and the ascension gods. The higher you go, the more you come in provision to its atom line center. Molecular light. When you come into molecular light, you're traveling extremely fast at so many levels. It's like, see my hand? It just travels so fast. You see what I'm doing, right? Cloak and dagger, it's protecting all line center interference and sending code line into rotation position, but I'm traveling. See? It's amazing when you travel, but you got to be balanced with the male and the female aspects of its position locations. Now, once you're in that high center, you split the division location of the atom and the female aspects, the positive and negative aspects, and then you got the yin and yang to its position. It high channels its clocking line system, right? So not every day you're going to wake up to 144. Sometimes you wake up to 72. Sometimes you go back to 48. Sometimes you go back to 24. But where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in the mind? Right? Do you want to have a self-efficient program running its system by itself so you understand what you're doing? Or you're just trying to understand what's going on with your clocking when you're traveling? Right? So the higher frequencies that you reach, the more you see through clarity and focus. So it's like putting these things together to know exactly, right? And I keep saying that to everybody. All line centers, the future line is a mystery. You don't know what's happening. Everything of the past is history. Doesn't exist. It only exists if you change perception of clocking. So the past comes into the present is its future, and the future is its future integration to its avatar, to its relation. That's where you become all levels of you, of space-time, right? So there's a lot to learn from that, right? All right, so at 46 lines and 26 position locations of directions, going to take you guys out. Water interference, high line interference line position location, redirect signals and high channel line rotation. Bring it back and calculation all lines, crew units, Y units, 1 to 2 position location directions. GFLs, rebellion, everything is sending masters of communication attention gods. Bring it back in signal and high interference, code signal activation line stream in position locations. High center interference, code signal locations, center graphs, high line interference. Back in equation. There you guys. All right, so when I did that, you were surfacing back up to the waters. So it's about how to use your travel lines. It's incredible force how the computer really understands you through acceleration. Right? That's what this all is. It's all about balancing things out in your life, balancing your life. If your life isn't balanced, how do I get balanced? Well, use your thoughts. Your thoughts are everything. That's the most important thing you wake up to every single day, because you're creating it in the mind. So this is the position you have to understand and how this works, okay, through its correlation. It's the flow, right, of life and the existence of the now. Okay? All right. Clicking out portals, lines, blue plasma. Yeah. Bobbing on the water, portal closed, siren song coming through to everyone's hearts. Whee! No need to access past level. Moved on to current center. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's a Trinity stand when you come into that calculations. But I'm just showing you on so many levels of what your clocking does for you and what you do with your thoughts and how to use it through your connections. Right? All through a graph. All right. So, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing class, wasn't it? It's a lot more fun. Hopefully you guys picked up a lot more. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Okay. I will be back on TikTok. Ask your questions. Anything you want to know about. This is all about you really understanding you inside and how it operates. That's all this is. Once you get balanced with that, then you get your grounds. Once you get balanced with that, then you get your waters of flow. Once you get balanced with that, then you get your fires of structure. Once you balance that, you get your airs of freedom. Okay? All right. Adios, everybody.